And it's on. Chili Chill and friends. It's another Tuesday day, afternoon from 3:30 till 6. We're gonna have Chili Chill. That's who I am and my friends. That's who anybody who passes by or just my friends can stop by too. You know, people I know, people I don't. And the show's name is Art and Life. We're gonna talk about art as in, it's a beautiful world. It's all artistic. Everything is so perfect, which is kind of like art, because there is no imperfect art. So there is art in life, and life is just a big art, like an art of living. And in the studio right now we have a guest. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Jeb Platt.
Hi, Jim.
Jeb. J-E-B.
J-E-B. Oh, sorry. Jeb.
Southern name. You boys up north don't get it.
Is it like a full name, Jeb, or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've met a few Jebs in
Have
my
you?
life. It's just yeah. When I was down south, I went hitchhiking. Back in the
Okay.
days.
I bet you they treated you well, didn't they?
In the south, oh yeah, Southern hospitality. You know, the people are really, really open and loving, but the police,
That's all over the place. Police,
Yeah,
by
they-
definition, is police.
well, you know, like up here in the city, you get caught for something like petty, and they put you in jail, and you get out of the next day. Up there, they put me in jail for 10 days, and then they schedule me to come back.
Come back and do more time?
Yeah. Well, I had to pay a ticket. It's like I did something really stupid.
Like loitering or something like that?
Hmm?
Like loitering or jaywalking?
No, actually, I was passing by Alabama. Actually, I didn't pass by this guy I was hitchhiking with. You know, we was kids, man. He kind of got his dad's truck, and we went off. I was hitchhiking. He picked me up, and
Yeah.
then we went to Alabama, and we had no money, so I put a sandwich in my pocket. You know, went to the supermarket, and I put some sandwich in my pocket, like one of those big, $3 sandwich, because I didn't have any penny on me. I put it in my pocket. I put it behind my belt. And as we were getting out the store, it kind of fell out. And everybody was looking at me. And my friend, he got a bunch of like packs of cigarettes. He put it in his pocket, behind his belt. And so he walked out, and I had to. If I was gonna go out, I would have caught the attention on me and him, and then a whole bunch of bad things would have happened, even worse. So I had to go and spend 10 days in Alabama, in Jasper, Alabama.
That's interesting because when I was down and out living in Florida, I'm a recovering alcoholic. And so you drink anything with alcohol in it to keep from being sick. Most people think that alcoholics drink to get drunk, but we don't drink to get drunk. We just drink to not be sick, to feel half-ass normal.
Yeah. I was an alcoholic myself for 10 years.
Okay, so you know what I mean.
Wake up with all shakes and stuff. You shake, and
miserable.
it's not good.
Yep, and it's like probably one of the worst addictions because it's the only addiction you can die in withdrawals.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had DTs and seizures and all that.
Yeah, seizures. Ooh.
Yeah.
I had those too.
Okay. So anyhow, now I was for real shoplifting, but you can't shoplift liquor very easy, So I was shoplifting mouthwash just to keep the sick away. Because it's 26 proof alcohol.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So you used to drink mouthwash?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard of people drinking cologne, too.
Those people really tough. They're tougher than me, but I've heard of that too. In the old days, people used to drink Sterno, which is a fluid for lighting. It's kind of like kerosene,
Yeah.
but it has alcohol in it,
Uh,
and you have to strain it through bread.
yeah, that probably will cause cancer in the long run.
Everything can cause cancer, but it does more to your brain. That's the worst
Might
part
make
of
your
it.
brain dead. Like,
Yeah.
You got old. You like just sit there like a vegetable.
It's exactly right. And in fact, Chili, when I got off alcohol, I always have to be hospitalized for my seizures and DTs and withdrawals and monitored. And usually I stay in the hospital 2 weeks, you know. And it's a deadly, deadly disease, and just keeps wearing you down, wearing you down. And
And what thing about alcoholism, let me add in, is that it's really hard to get off because you think that you need it even though you don't need it. I mean, I remember, I would go to jail or something, spend some time there, and I would go through my shakes and I'd be okay. And I would get out. The first thing I would go is to the liquor store.
oh yeah, makes perfect sense, perfect sense. And first thing I got out of jail from that my longest stretch in jail was the 3 months in Palm Beach County because they found some cocaine in my mouth.
How do you?
I just put it in my mouth. I thought I could swallow it before the police put their finger in it.
Yeah.
So,
So they was looking in your mouth?
they immediately looked in my mouth.
Oh, like behind your tongue or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They stuck their fingers in my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
But the important thing is that I'm sober now and been sober quite some time.
For how long? Have you been
This
sober?
time 4 or 5 years.
Oh, Mazel Tov. That's great. Good luck with
But
all that.
last time 14 years before I lost, and then the time before that 10 years.
Yeah, well, stay up.
Yeah.
You've been there before. There's nothing up there in the alcohol but the gutter.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons, Shirley, I hang out here at the video store, because I know I'm going to have healthy people around me. Now they're kind of Looney Tunes, and I fit in real good. It takes more than one monkey to run this show. I feel really comfortable, and nobody in the store abused drugs or anything, so or alcohol. Yeah.
No, nobody abuses up here alcohol. And people might bring like some wine sometimes though.
Yeah.
But a little wine,
Oh yeah, and you got to remember Xavier and his family are from Belgium, which
Are
is
they?
right at the lowlands
Really?
of Great France.
Mm-hmm.
And it's common to have wine.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
little kids from 10 or 11, maybe even younger than that, have a glass of wine with dinner.
Mm.
And they've proven it's really healthy if you have a glass of wine or two before dinner.
It sure is. That's why they live much longer than, because it has a lot of antioxidants. Cleans up
Exactly.
your system from all the.
It sounds like you've really been
gross.
thinking about this.
Well, I've been an alcoholic for 10 years, and when I quit, I spent all my time getting high instead. No, I went from one thing to another. First, I used to just drink wine. I was a wino, and I was homeless too. And then I wasn't homeless anymore, but I became a pothead. And when you have a pothead, you have a lot of you don't want to do nothing. And I was really getting into learning about things like just meaningless information.
Mm-hmm.
I would get on the computer. Nowadays, on the computer, they got the internet. Internet is like, you start reading about one thing. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then before you finish it up, you go into something else because there's always information. I was like, it's too much.
I know people my age, and I'm 58 years old, that spend their time as couch potatoes playing video games, smoking reefer. Yeah?
Yeah, video
And that's all
games.
they do. That's all they do,
Well, it makes your mind focus on one thing, and you kind of go away from the world. You go into this one world, and you don't have to think about your problems or anything else.
Kind of like T.S. Eliot, measuring my life by coffee spoons, We are the hollow men. And that's what happens. And we become hollow not only by drinking and drugging, but by useless activity.
Useless activity. That's the thing. Lately I've discovered this thing. It's called meditation. Now it looks like completely useless because all you do is you sit there and you don't do nothing. It's like you actually not do, instead of doing something, it's like doing meaningless activity. You just sit back. Well, it's good to sit with a straight spine, but you sit and just watch your mind, and observe thoughts entering and leaving, entering and leaving.
So how often are you doing this?
Well, I at first started just sitting an hour, maybe a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then, well, I'm trying to incorporate the practice into everyday life, so there is no differences. There's no difference between what's going on in my everyday activities to what's going on if I'm sitting down. And I haven't been sitting much. Sometimes I sit, but when I sit, I do something else because I've been doing this for a while, and I got a bunch of practices that make me like I had this practice that really opens up your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So you become just like really loving
Yeah.
to people. You really want people to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like you need some visualization and a little mantra. And this mantra thing, it works in your subconsciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, I don't need any drugs now. But my imagination goes a little bit overboard, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing people in a rainbow light.
Well,
Yeah,
I
but
can't see how it's damaging you any, and we all have our own journey, Chili.
yeah.
And I meditate every morning.
Oh yeah, what do you do?
I read the Dalai Lama
Oh yeah.
and just calm my breath. I breathe my belly to solar plexus to my upper chest, but like 21 for each 2 or 3 times.
Oh, that's good. That will activate your chakras.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
And really, I don't know any smart person that doesn't meditate. All therapists I've ever met, we all meditate. Any smart person. If you ever want to talk about meditation, talk to Debbie Davis from the Time Exchange.
Oh yeah. I know Debbie.
Okay.
Yeah, she does vipassana.
Right?
She does vipassana meditation.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
No, I've never. What's
This is
that?
like this
Tell me about it.
place. There's this place in Rockford. I highly recommend it. It's so peaceful. In Rockford, Illinois. Okay.
Mhm.
They have this house. That house it's about 20 guys, 25 guys, 25 girls, 20 or so, and it's absolutely free. It doesn't cost any money. Okay, and you go in, you apply in about a month or so. They'll send you a letter, say, yeah, you come on over, and it's free. You go up there, you get to eat food twice a day, and you get to meditate about 3 hours a day, and you don't get to talk. They don't want you talking. You get to spend a lot of time just being by yourself. There's a park, there's ducks. Ducks are going quack, 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 quack. And at first it might bother you.
Did you ever go there?
I went there twice.
Okay.
I went
you
to
talk from experience.
two 10-day sessions. That's what I
Okay.
did. It's a 10-day thing. And it's like first day is first I was really scared to go.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like, man, you go up there, I don't get to talk to anybody. They're probably gonna make me sit meditate 10 hours a day or something. I can't handle this. But it's only 3 hours. They only make you meditate 3 hours, and it's not consecutive. It's like you meditate once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening.
So you don't talk at all?
No, you don't.
Okay. Even when you have meals, you can't say pass the salt or something.
No. It's all you do it by yourself. It's like a buffet thing. You get up and you get. Well, they let you talk to the teacher. They got this teacher person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have some questions, there's some designated time, once or twice. You can talk during the day. You can sign an appointment and go to talk to a teacher, or at night after everybody leaves, you can also stay behind and talk to the teacher.
Well, you actually sleep at the retreat, right?
Yeah. They give you a whole room. It's like you're in your own room.
Wow.
You have a bathroom. Like it's like a little hotel thing, where two people share a big apartment thing looking, but everybody gets a room. Except sometimes they might put you with somebody else because they have some communal, they have some private quarters, We have maybe two communal rooms. So, but it doesn't usually matter because being with people and it's because you get used to that talking and it's actually quite nice.
Yeah, and I don't know you, Chili, but you sound like you're a pretty verbal, pretty articulate man. So not talking must be really hard.
Oh, I used to get in trouble because you know I don't need to talk with the mouth. I talk with my eyes a lot. You know,
Yeah,
I didn't want that either. I didn't want you laughing. I was like laughing because I was sitting there. I felt so happy because I just felt happy. And they're like, no, can't be happy. I'm like, that's bogus.
That makes me laugh just hearing that now.
Yeah.
That's weird, but you know,
That's
you follow the thing, and you do what you can. You know, like they say, you know, if it don't apply, let it fly. But it sounds like you've already incorporated it in your life. Have you seen any improvements in your life from these 10-day stints in Rockford?
Oh, you come back, it's like a different person.
Okay. Well, give me one example.
Well, you know, I practice Tai Chi. I go to Milwaukee Tai Chi Chuan School Center.
Right there in Locust?
Locust
Okay.
and Fratney. And I would go and, you know, it's like, you know, you practice. And then I came back. And the first thing I did, I went to the practice. And the practice became a whole different experience because your mind becomes more tamed, more quiet, and your awareness increases. So usually I would go to practice and I would hear about half 3/4 of what's going on, you know, because my mind is like woo woo woo, and then I was really focused, and everything made so much more sense. It's like, you know, when you usually going through things and sometimes you're here and sometimes you're in your mind, and then when you're totally here, it's like it's much more vivid experience.
Yeah.
You know, the colors become brighter, the
I think,
sounds
one of
become.
the things that's really helped me is to be mindful of the experience. So I'm totally focused on you, and you're right. Your gestures and your face, you know, just your gestures, your nonverbal stuff says twice as much as your words. You know.
Yeah, you get to
mean,
see the little
you-
things too. Because, see, I know you've been meditating because you start noticing little things.
Yeah.
That's what meditation does. Then your experience increases.
Yep. It's mindfulness is an art. You know.
Mindfulness is an art.
And what's cool about meditation is when your mind starts flying away, you know, you don't try to push it back in, you know, you just ease it back into meditative slides, you know.
Sometimes I let it fly. I let it fly and I watch it. You know, because sometimes, the way I see it is that when you like sit and meditate, when you sit, it is your time. It's no one else's time. So you shouldn't let anyone tell you what to do. No book, no instructions. Sometimes you do as you please, and sometimes you might have a problem that you want to work out with. Like, you know, your girlfriend left you, and your mind is always thinking about your girlfriend, what kind of a evil witch she is.
Oh yeah.
And
When
you know,
you're-
you have to sometimes sit and just think it through and work it all out.
Yeah. Walking through the damn pain, and just walking one foot in front of the other.
One
And-
foot.
Yeah,
Another.
and and there's not a man or woman alive that hasn't had their heart broken. You know. And
Maybe some kids.
well, children. I'm talking man or woman. Don't.
Yeah.
And usually by the time you're 12 or 13 or 14, you've had your heart broken. But by the time you're 20 or 21, you know you have.
Oh yeah.
You know. And so it's a human thing, and we learn to walk through the pain. And when we get through it, we thought we're going to die without her. You know. When Julie left, I thought I was going to die.
Right. I was like, oh, what's the point of living?
Mm-hmm.
Especially you read stuff like Romeo and Juliet, and they were really passionate as lovers.
Well, hell, you know, everybody's got their song. So when I hear George Thorogood on the radio or something, you know, we always loved George Thorogood and Bob Seger and all that. So, you know, and I know everybody experiences that. You know, songs that remind them of the other person.
Yeah.
It reminds us of the loving times we had when you couldn't get enough of each other, you know? Yeah. A meeting of the souls. And I don't mean a soul partner. I mean two individuals meeting, you know, but very separate, you know, not melding together, you know, but meeting, being connected. And it's usually when you're making love, you know. and then
Well, I think sometimes when you're making love, you can actually become just one being. Share the consciousness, you know, you can get away from your own self, and because you know the power of imagination is so strong. You can, like in your dreams, you can be anything you want to be, or imagination. You know, you can imagine anything. So I was like, I haven't been there, but I think it's possible to. Well, actually, when I a few meditation sessions, you know, with imagination, I was imagining myself like a Buddha, but not just one Buddha. I was imagining myself a Buddha and a woman Buddha. There's a male Buddha and a female Buddha, and I was imagining us copulating. So in my imagination, I felt like a man, and I also felt like a woman. And I felt us both at the same time. That was interesting.
yeah, you know, if you experience, I've never experienced that, but that's
Imagination.
something. Yeah, but I've thought about another woman when I was making love to another woman. One woman thinking about another one. But this kind of meshing is what you're talking about. Is a horse of another color. You know, that's just like mutual masturbation. What I'm talking about. But making love and
Jeff,
just
1 second. Can you talk about something? So Desmond Bone, I think I want to get him up here.
who?
Desmond.
Okay.
You know Desmond Bone?
Yeah, he's
Oh yeah,
wearing.
there he is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to invite him over. Just
Okay.
say something.
Okay. What we're talking about is Chili's going to go get Desmond Bone. And I've seen him around. And he wears a cowboy hat. And I wear a cowboy hat. And I also see him as, yeah. And he walks around. He's a pretty famous person around River West, I understand. You know. And but I've never talked to him or had a conversation with him, so I really can't. I got a reserved judgment, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, and that's how it is, you know. And what's important to me, for me to experience the world, is to understand, to be honest and open-minded, and willing to try something. Chili just asked me to sit down in this chair, and I see her visiting Xavier, and you know, and so far I think we had a good conversation. So,
All right, let's have you sit.
Hi.
You guys know each other?
No, I've never met you.
Desmond?
Jeb. Jeb.
Jeb?
Yeah, I see you around because you were.
Like Jeb Stewart?
Exactly. That's what it's named after. That's right. Yeah. And you and I are two of the few people. I always wear a straw cowboy hat in summertime, and you always wear that. I think you sleep in that hat. Now you wear that hat all the time.
Yeah.
Looks like a good Stetson. So.
That's a Stetson.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Desmond Bone in the building.
Yellow.
So, say something again.
Yellow.
All right. You guys talk. I'm gonna go get me some coffee. Okay?
Okay.
You can introduce yourself again, and Desmond, introduce yourself.
Who are we talking to besides each other?
Just ourselves. Yeah, just each other.
Just each other?
Yeah, I'm gonna come back.
We're
Get
interesting
some
people,
coffee.
man. We're interesting people, you know.
I've been told that.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story,
Oh, yes.
or stories, as the case may be.
Yeah, I think stories, because we all live,
So
You know-
you're named after Jeb Stewart?
yep, exactly. Good question. My mother said she saw me when I was born and she knew that I'd be a rebel.
There you go. Huh? All right.
And so, anyhow, and Desmond's the unusual name too. Have you always liked Desmond?
No, I was born Paul, actually, Paul Andrew. It's a biblical thing. I discovered my name about. I always tell everybody Paul's my slave name. There, I chose the name Desmond when I kind of rededicated my life to poetry. I had to. I kind of had to purge my past and become the new spirit again that recognized who I was
Yeah.
from the core when I started living from the inside out again as opposed to the outside in. Desmond, I don't, other than the fact I don't know where it came from except for the fact that one of my favorite musicians was Paul Desmond,
Okay.
the
Makes sense.
saxophone player.
I'm not familiar with him, but that makes sense. And you know, at least the Lakota Sioux, and I think most Native Americans, about 12 or 13, they go on a vision quest, and that's when they get their name. Or like, but Crazy Horse got his name early when he's like 5 or 6, and so because he's just so good on a horse. But anyhow, nevertheless, I believe there's a metamorphosis in us, and it happens when it happens.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I'm a completely different man than I was 10 or 20, 30, 40 years ago.
We all are. We think we don't change, but change is happening all the times.
It sure is.
One of the things that I've come to figure out, I just turned 58, but one of the over this period of time, short time that I've been here, I have learned that there are many ways to show your love. I'm constantly amazed at how limited we make ourselves in terms of our expression and our loving. We all know love is important and we give it lip service, but we don't know love, you know. But there are many ways to show your love.
Yes, and one of my spiritual practices, it's interesting because Chili and I were just talking about spirituality and meditation, is what I try to do, and this is so hard for me, Desmond, so hard, is do something nice for somebody and not tell anybody. You know, just do it and do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, we most of us do have a tendency to get in our own way.
Well, I do.
And kind of step in front of ourselves. Well, look at this. People say, people thank me for doing something, you know, or saying something, or I always make sure to tell them, don't spread that around.
Do you?
You know, they're like, well, that was really great. I'm like, don't spread that around, you know.
That's a good way to put it, you know. That's a good way. And I try to do things so anonymously they don't notice it. Little damn things. Like whatever little thing. I live in the projects, and people leave their trash all around, you know. And so, you know, I'll put it in the trash chute, you know. Nobody knows who did it, you know. And that's an example of something that is spiritually real good for me.
Right.
And I just don't tell anybody I did it, you know. So we're on the same track, sounds like. It's interesting you mentioned poetry, because tomorrow we're having a Poetry is Anarchy thing at 7 to 8 o'clock,
Where's this?
right here on the radio.
Oh,
And, you know, maybe you'd like to come and join us. Right now we've got 2 or 3 people.
hmm
And I've seen you at Linneman's, so and I think I've heard you read at Linneman's. So what I heard was real good.
I'm known for doing some poetry here and there.
Yeah.
My life kind of switched to music a few years back, so most of my energies have been in the musical endeavors. Kind of a late bloomer. I've only been playing guitar about 10, 12 years,
Hmm.
but I've been fortunate to have a lot of support, a lot of musician friends, people playing with me. I have a band,
Okay.
Edgar Allan Cash.
Well, what's the?
That's a plug.
Okay.
But yeah, poetry's always been an important part of my life. The spoken word.
Hmm.
There's a place. Language is just a beautiful thing, and
Exactly.
the visions and the emotions that it inspires are just unparalleled. You know.
Every revolution is fueled by verbal and written communication. You know, like Thomas Paine. I don't think the revolution would have happened without his rabble rousing. And we think it at all times. So we're pretty much of one mind here, and it's our obligation to put in things, you know. And I think that's one of the good things about Xavier and the store and the radio station, is nobody's dismissed, you know, and we're all allowed to speak our mind.
This is America. This is the essence of America in my eyes, and I come from a different place, and I come up here and I look around, and what I've been told about America, like, you know, democracy and freedom of speech and all that stuff, I don't get to see it.
Right.
It's only by talking to real people I get to see it, but that's everywhere. But this station right here, this is freedom.
So anyhow, if you'd like to join us 7 o'clock tomorrow, I'd really like to have you join. And it's Poetry is Anarchy. And right now we have 3 other people going to be on. So 4 people is about right. And each person read a piece and then choose somebody to criticize it. Because otherwise it's just a free-for-all. And the person you choose to criticize your poetry, your work, that person is obligated to go next. And so everybody gets a different idea, you know? And, you know, there's, in any place, there's some people that are just so arrogant and egotistical that they think their words are the most important things. And Chili and I were just talking about it. The fact is, it's being mindful and paying attention. So, you want to do it?
It sounds like a good idea. I'll have to see what I'm doing.
Well, you know, it's going to be every Wednesday.
Every
But
Wednesday.
yeah. And
What time?
It's 7 to 8.
7 o'clock.
Might jump
And
in.
this is our debut show.
Oh, okay.
So,
Right on.
you know, and I'm really looking forward to it because I've been doing poetry for as long as I can remember. Then I spent about a 20 or 30 year hiatus from it because I was doing other things. So, and but anyhow,
A friend of mine, and I agree with him totally. So I'm kind of like taking his words. He said, poetry is the only accurate way to describe reality.
well, I don't think poetry is the only, but it's one. You know, and because I'm not a visual artist, I love to look at acrylics and oils
Oh, yeah.
and sculpture, you know, and it cuts you to the core. I mean, it's got to for you, David. Yeah? And
Yeah.
dance, you know. I can't dance at all, but watch dance on stage, is so beautiful, you know.
Very
And-
true.
And it's kind of like I'm going to leave now, but
We all need to dance more.
geez, you got that
We
right.
all need to dance more.
Well, you know, Jacob
Yeah.
Green is coming back.
One of
in
my
town.
favorite. I'm interrupting, Shirley, but one of my favorite movies is the Greeks. What's the Greek show? Anthony Quinn starred in it. Anthony Quinn starred in it. Zorba the Greek, yeah. And he was just,
It's a movie?
oh yeah, he was long before your time. But Desmond and I are exactly the same age. So,
Yeah, I want to see that movie.
well, yeah, I don't know.
You're the
I-
year of the horse,
Oh yeah.
also.
Well, I didn't know that. No, I was born in '53. What were you
Oh,
born?
that what year? What month?
August.
August. You would be. It would be the year of the snake.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yes, I'm the year of the horse. Yeah. So you're about 9 months older than me, but yeah. about
Yeah.
Essentially the same. I'm 54.
I thought you were 58. Oh, you were born in
I am.
54.
I'm born in 54.
Okay, so you must have recently had a birthday.
May 4th. May the
It
4th
was
be
a
with
jam. No, he's like Milwaukee superstar. Yeah, you are. I was just maybe River West superstar. Because all of, I don't know if Bayside knows you, the Bayview, but in River West, Desmond Boat is Mr. Man. When he walks around, they say everybody says hi.
That's good. That's good because that shows that you affect people in a positive way.
you. I try to keep it positive.
Yeah.
You know, I've inspired a few people, I think, in my time, and I think really what more could I ask for? You know, I have everything I need, and I have a little bit of respect, from people, and the only thing you can take with you when you go is your ethics, and your truth. What do you take with you? I ain't taking my record collection. I ain't taking my money. I ain't taking my false teeth. I mean, none of this belongs to me. The only thing that we can really own is really what's inside of us. It's the only thing
Very true.
that we'll take with us.
And what's
in your
inside
heart?
of us?
What's in your heart?
I'm interrupting you, Desmond, but also how we've affected people. That's like one and the same. That's two-headed coin.
There
Yeah.
you go. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take off here.
Well, I'm taking off too. So.
I gotta find something. I got something to do
Okay.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow at
poetry?
7:00.
Okay. I can leave you with a short poem for now,
Oh, please.
Okay.
if that's all right.
Nah, I'm open.
How about this? My Buddha waltz.
Okay.
Like writing on water or painting in the sky with uninhibited naked ease. The karmic laws of cause and effect can no longer bind me.
That's really good.
Bravo.
Yeah.
All right,
Can you
Chili.
just say the two lines that have the convict addicted line? I couldn't hear those.
The what?
The one about being addicted.
Oh no, the karmic laws of cause and effect
Cause and effect. Yeah.
can no longer bind me.
There you go. That's that, and I would, if I was reading that, I'd read that again.
And there's a line in this thing that I wrote too. It's called "I grasped, and it was all illusion.
Yeah.
I wound up with a handful of hand."
That's great. I like that.
I want to make a video out of it, but we're gonna have to maybe make it a little more bigger, maybe write a third and a fourth.
Oh yeah,
Understand,
there's
you know.
more to it, but
Oh, there's more than what you've been sharing with people. You only shared
that's
2 or
just-
3, I think.
No, he just probably. I'm guessing you
work
just
in progress.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm guessing
yeah.
you just it's like a verse in your
Yeah,
stanza or whatever.
work in progress. Chili, thanks for having me.
Yeah, come back again
for
every
being here.
Tuesday, 3:30 to 6.
I'll be around.
You know,
Okay. So Joy,
we talk
and
turkey.
hopefully I'll see you.
Alrighty.
I'll see you 7 o'clock tomorrow,
See you in the neighborhood.
and we'll see each
Alright.
other in the neighborhood for sure.
Keep it up.
Yeah. Well, that was pleasant because I'd never talked to that man before, and
You
I
seen
heard
him?
I've seen. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's the only other person who wears a cowboy hat. I wear a straw cowboy hat, and he wears his old Stetson. So, you know. And of course, I'm from the South. I don't know what his history is, but he knew who Jeb Stewart was right away, and the Northern people don't know.
I don't know who it is.
No. See.
Who is he?
He was a Confederate cavalry general. He died. He was killed when he was 31. So he moved up the ranks fast, and was known to just do split lightning attacks and flanking attacks. And he's also known for womanizing. And so what happened? And he's real ugly, so everybody called him Beauty. But the reason Stonewall Jackson lost his arm was because Jeb Stewart was screwing around.
Can you elaborate?
No, I don't know any more about that.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like I said, Chili, I'm leaving, and this was such a joy, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've heard you here a lot. I really like this place. So yeah, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, thank you for coming by. It's always a pleasure to.
it was a pleasure. And thank you for introducing me, Desmond.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Keep it up.
you know, it's like Bob Dylan said, we all saw things the same, just from a different point of view. So, I'll see you later.
All right.
That was fun.
God bless. Well, it's always good to be around
Did you
good
hear us?
people.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get this little lady up in here. Come. Come on, say a few words. Okay. Miss Brittany is gonna go eat. I just ate. I had me a delicious bagel with some jalapeno cream cheese. It was good. And coffee is what the doctor ordered. I've been going to sleep at practice. I usually have practice before I come here. I was standing in practice and I was kind of nodding, and it's not good when you go into sleep and you have to stand and you have to sleep at the same time, and it's not nice. So I got me some tea, drank me 1 cup, or drank me 2nd cup. Kind of kept me up, but nothing beats good old coffee, even though it's not good for you. Well, it's alright. There's different studies going on. Some people, they say a little coffee is actually good. Some people say coffee is not good. Chinese, they say coffee is bad for qi. But because I practice Tai Chi, Chuan, I cultivate qi, so I got plenty of good qi. And the negative qi will just release it in a waste bucket, you know. Send it downwards and get the good qi from the upwards. Or I don't know how it goes. Well, they say qi is air, and as you breathe, you get the qi. Some people say that this prana comes with the oxygen, so we breathe to get the prana. We don't really need the oxygen, we just need the prana, but we breathe because we don't know how to get the prana without breathing. So in our consciousness, prana and breath are synchronical, simultaneous. And I was listening to Osho talk the other day, and he was saying that there's some guy who got really, really good at getting this prana. He was a yogi of some sorts, and he could go under the ground and not get any oxygen but he would still survive because he would breathe prana, and he would not need oxygen. So that was kind of interesting. So this week was very productive week for me. Most of the weekdays I didn't do nothing. I don't do much. I clean up my house. As always, needs some cleaning. I read a book or two. That's always in the progress. Actually, I finished reading. I finished reading a book, which is a success for me. I usually read 5 books and I never get to finish them. So sometimes I do, like I did this one. It was a story of Maciej Labdron, who was a Tibetan lady who was not and the story actually started before she was a Tibetan lady, because it started with this young Indian yogi. This yogi was born in India, and he got all kinds of revelations. He got all kinds of witches, flying ladies, goddesses, gods come to him. They teach him things, and when he was in his early 20s, this really powerful goddess told him, you go into a cave and you sit there and meditate and let go of your spirit and get your spirit to Tibet, because that's where you're needed. So he went to the cave and he sat in the cave and he meditated in the cave and let go of his spirit, and the spirit came into Tibet and entered this couple who were copulating at the time, and 9 months later the lady gave birth to a girl, and it was said in a text that the girl was born with 3 eyes. I don't know if it was physical 3 eyes or she was just born with 2 physical eyes and her 3rd eye was completely open, but when she was young she got all kinds of it's called empowerments. People gave her the essences of different aspects of the mind, like different deities, which is not really gods. There's, in Buddhist terminology, everything is one, so there's no separation between the mind and the deity, because the deity is like color of a rainbow. Your mind is like a rainbow, and it has many different colors. So color of compassion is in your mind, and it has a certain deity associated with it. And because for us people it's hard to, we're very people-like, so we have to imagine compassion as a deity, and comes to us in our dreams and visions. Oh, is that Andy? Oh, hey, no, is it Andy? No, it's not Andy. I got my buddy up here, I think, but that's not him. Okay, so Maciej, she got these deities come to her and teach her things, because our mind is connected to infinity, so everything can happen in our minds. Especially, think about your dreams. If you have some really weird dreams, they all happen in the mind. So, and some thing, she just flew up, like a teacher, he gave her the permission, he gave her this deity and of Tara, which is a female person, of female emanation of just total forgiveness and total love and total well-wishing. She's like a projectress too, and she's just the Maciej. She just flew up out of the monastery and landed a couple of miles down, and she stayed in the air for a while too. Um, yeah, there are all kinds of things. And then she found her spiritual guide. I mean, she had a bunch of spiritual teachers, but she found her main one, and he gave her all kinds of different teachings. Of course, she mastered all of them. That was before she was 20. She was still a young girl. She was, I think, when she was about 20, she got commissioned to go to this rich person's house, this rich lady who wanted her to read Prajna Paramita Sutra in 100,000 lines, which is Buddha's sutra of Mahayana that talks about the perfection of wisdom, which is what Prajna Paramita means. Paramita means perfection. Prajna is insight. You know, like when you cut through things, you know, you don't know, and you know, because using your wisdom, you cut through what you don't know, and comes the light of illumination of knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You just understand things. That's prajna. It's like the perfect way to understand things. Prajna Paramita Sutra. And there's a long version and 100,000 lines, and there's a short version and maybe 1,000 lines, and there's a condensed version which is maybe 100 lines, and there is the ultra condensed version which is just a mantra. Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattva, which means gone, gone, gone beyond the beyond, that's gone. Well, it makes sense. So this traditionally it is considered really good and auspicious and good luck. Gives you good luck, good auspicious things to hear it just once. And if you hear it, the long version, it's very good because it's like listening to Einstein and understanding Einstein, and then you get sort of all kinds of understandings and knowledge. And back in those days, people didn't have much books. They had mostly people memorizing things. Well, they had texts and people who memorized those texts, and they went around reading those texts from their memory to people for money. So it's 100,000 lines, so it's a long thing. And this rich lady, she probably had like an hour every day for some time when she would invite my chick and she would read it to her. So she asked her guru, her teacher, to send her over so she can get paid and everybody get paid and she could do those lines. And she didn't really want to do it at first because she was really a pure person, and she was thinking, oh, this sutra, it's not materialistic, you know. What is the point of getting paid for dharma? But her teacher says, hey, this is, I have to live. We need clothes, we need food. You want some good beer? Yeah, go up there and get the money, girl. It's all right. There's no problem. The rich lady, if she wants to give, yeah, well, it's okay to take. There's no problem. You're actually doing a good thing. So my chick went up there, and when she was up there, there was this Indian yogi who's also got commissioned by the rich lady to do this thing called Chakra Samvara, mandala rituals. So this Indian yogi with dreadlocks and bloodshot eyes, it is said in the text, he probably smoked some chalice. Yeah, man. So he was doing the ceremony, and she was reading the sutra. And at first, they kind of just talked to each other a little bit, and he said hello, and actually she said hello in Indian language. Probably it wasn't Hindi, it was some other one, maybe Sanskrit, maybe some other one, because that was back in the days. That was in the 11th century. And he says, "Oh, where do you know my language from?" And she said, "Oh, my previous life, I was Indian." So that's I know a lot of things. And they kind of gazed at each other first day, and then talked a few words here and there, second day, third day. But on the 8th day, the rich lady, she came down. She was sleeping in her bed, and then she felt the house started to shake, and there was lights all over, and she was a little bewildered. She came down to see what was going on, and she saw Machik and this Indian guy having the good times that a guy and a girl do have. And she was like, okay. Yeah, well, she kind of didn't really mind too much, because after all, they were doing something good, because there was all kinds of lights in the house and rainbows and all that stuff. But Machik, she kind of felt bad about it all, because she was still a virgin before that, and she didn't know what to think. So she went back to her teacher, and one teacher said, "Yeah, it's okay, because you're good and he's good and you already done it, so and you're not a nun, so there's no harm." And the other teacher says, "Yeah, you're not a nun, you've already done this thing, you go up there and you should be with the man, because you guys like each other." So my chick went and spent some time with this guy, like 15 years, and she gave birth to 3 kids. She gave birth to 2 boys and 1 girl. And then he, I forgot his name, because her main guru was Dharmasanghi, but I forgot his name. So anyways, this yogi, her boyfriend, he got the kids, and they went to go someplace, and she went to study somewhere else. So then the boys, they all got older, and she got all kinds of more knowledge and wisdom and understanding, and she got totally enlightened. And then the man came back sometime later, and he brought the kids back, and they had a good time for a week. But then the guy in India, he went back to India to take care of something, and the kids stayed with her. And the oldest boy, well, he had some problems. He was crazy. he was not completely crazy, but he had some hysterias. He maybe had some seizures or something. It says in text that he was crazy. So she basically locked him up in a room, gave him some practice, and then she went and sent him to the cemetery. They gave him another practice, and after some time of doing all these practices, he got cured. So when he got cured, she she went into this place, and she prepared a cave for him, and she entered a dream state, or some state between the dream states, and communicated with the goddesses that protected the cave, that were abiding close by. And she said, "Well, I'm gonna bring my son up here. Please look after him. If he needs anything, bring it to him." So then she went back home and told her son to go to this place and she would meet him there. And he traveled there maybe for a month or so. And then when he got there, she, with her supernormal powers, knew that he got there. So again with her super normal powers, she levitated and went over and met him. And so before he actually entered the place, she was already waiting for him. And she told him, okay, you go into this cave and you meditate there for a long time, like 14 years. And he went into the cave. She barricaded the cave, and he meditated for some time without food or water, and then he got hungry, and he didn't know what to do. So this goddess appeared to him and gave him some super normal food, so he felt healthy again, and eventually he got enlightened. Yeah, it's like Tibetan stories, you know. So he got enlightened, and she was living and teaching people. Then when she was about 50 years old, a bunch of Indian teachers, like highly accomplished teachers, they heard about this famous woman in Tibet who supposedly super enlightened, and she was teaching a new practice that was not known in India, because that's why she is famous. There's a lot of different tantras. There's also different practices, and they were usually brought to Tibet from India. But this practice, it was strictly Tibetan, and they didn't know about it in India. So they heard about this, and 3 of them levitated into the sky, and 7 days later they were in Tibet. And Machig's friend, he saw 3 guys floating into the sky, and he said, "Hey, Machig, there's 3 guys looking Indian, 3 Indian guys floating in the sky by your house. You should come out and talk to them." So she came out and says, "Oh, yeah, I know all about you. You came here to check me out. Yeah, we're gonna have a debate, question and answers thing." So that's what they had, and she told them all about her life and her previous lives, and they were convinced that she is who she is, and she taught them for a month or something like that, or maybe a week, I don't remember exactly. And then they went away happy, and she says, okay, actually they said, why don't you come to India with us and teach what you know to Indian people, because all Buddhas come from India, and then you should go to India with us. And she said, no, thank you, I came from India, I was in India before, and if you go into such and such place, you'll find this yogi sitting there, and he's been sitting there for 100 years, and he doesn't change. You take him and you burn him, and there will be all kinds of rainbows and artifacts and stuff like that. So that's what they done, and they brought those artifacts. They kept a lot of artifacts for themselves, and they brought some stuff too, and she gave it to the people, because she says, I don't need nothing. I'm already happy. I don't need nothing. Yeah, so she taught for 50 years, and then she went into a rainbow, and she was 99 years old. And her son, and her other son, and her daughter, they continued her lineage, and is still flourishing today in Tibet and all over the world, actually, because after Tibet got invaded by the Chinese, a lot of those teachers and teachings came out, this rather segregated place which Tibet was, and came into the world in the world that we live in, the Western world and most of other Eastern world. So there's a lot of teachings going on around. So that's the story of Machig Labdrön, and you can look her up on Google. You can go into the library and maybe possibly get a book about her. Her name is Machig, Machig, and Her last name is Labdron, Labdron, and her lineage, her thing that she was teaching, this brand new thing that is Tibetan, is called Chod, Chod. Basically, what it consists of is it's all about being detached from gods and demons. And gods are your hopes and aspirations, and it's like, oh, I hope to be a Buddha. Oh, I hope to have $100 million. And demons are your fears. It's like, oh, I'm afraid of death. Oh, I'm afraid of this. Oh, anger, that's like a demon too. It's like demons are negatives and gods are positives, and you gotta go. It's like, I read Bhagavad Gita. That's what Krishna is talking about. Don't be attached to good nor bad. It's not about the outcome. It's all the same thing. Yeah. So her thing was like, it's Vajrayana practice. It's visualizations, and basically, what the Chod practitioners do is that they go into a cemetery, and then they start beating the drum, and they blow the pipes made out of human thighs, and they call all the demons of the cemetery over, and then they have a big feast, and they first invite all the demons, and then they have a feast in which in this feast the main food that the demons get to eat is the practitioners themselves. So they imagine themselves cutting off their hands, cutting off their legs, getting into the demons, getting their gut chopped up and giving it to the demons, and until there's nothing left. And, yeah. Well, supposedly it does magic. Visualization is a powerful tool. It's very powerful. So I also this week saw during the weekend. So a Grand Master Ben Law, Grandmaster of Tai Chi Chuan, and this is the second time I've seen Ben. He is a very vigorous, very upbeat, very happy, and very energetic and youthful 85-year-old Chinese man. Well, I don't need to say that he's Chinese, but he does have an accent. And he does talk a little bit about what he's seen in China. And boy, oh boy, I did this workshop with him. I spent 2 hours on a Friday and 4 hours on a Saturday. Then we had a nice dinner. And boy, oh boy, this guy, he's so relaxed. That was the whole essence of the teachings. It was all about relaxation. It was all about relaxation. And we would stand in postures for a long time. And everybody is different, but I'm kind of youthful. And he would come up to me and say, and I'm already getting down and low because I've been doing this obsessively somewhat. So my legs are really strong. Not they're not really strong. They're kind of weak. But they're stronger than the average practitioners that we have. And we have like 40-year-old guys and 50-year-old guys. And, I'm 34. Gee, I'm not a young man no more. Nah, I'm still 18. I'm forever young. 17, better yet. I don't know about 16. 16 is, you know. But 18, I like 18 number. So I'll be standing there for 20 minutes, and this 70% of my weight would be on my left knee leg, and 30% would be on my right. I'm standing there, and I'm like, okay, this is a lot of work. And he would come up, because he would go and check everybody, and there's 100 people up there, you know, there's a lot of people. So he has a lot of people to check. And he'll come up to me and says, you know what, you're a young man, get down, get lower. And he would put me even lower than I was. And I'd be like, oh boy, I don't know if I can handle this. But you know what? I could, a little for a while. And he'll say, see how you are? Your legs are shaking. You can, like, you should relax your muscles. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I was just tongue stuck. But this is how it works. It's like a book. You stand there you practice for 1 hour, really, really hard. You get a little good, just a little good, like 1 page. The next day you practice some more, you get another page. And after a week, you get 7 pages, which is also very, very little. But after a year, you get 365 pages, which is like, whoa, that's a book. Because 1 page is easy to read. 7 pages is easy to read. 365 pages. Oh, no, that's some strength. So now, after he corrected me, I've applied the teachings and I started practicing more rigorously and vigorously. And boy, oh boy, I am in my own little doggy heaven. I have so much energy. Just, you know, you stand there and it's hard, but after you get up, you have a lot of energy. And I know what to do with it. I put it in my dantian. Dantian is this energy center, 3-finger width below your belly button and 3/10 inward. It's not physical, it's energetic, but and you breathe into it, and as you breathe into it, you start feeling it and it becomes as if it was physical. All right. So that's how the story goes. Practice makes perfect. Buddha says, don't believe in Buddha. Buddha says, believe in practice. And you know what? At first, when you practice, you're not gonna get any results. Well, you might get 1 page, which is very, very thin. You practice for a week, you'll get 7 pages, which is very, very thin. You practice for a year, you get 365 pages, which is a book. And then after you get a book, you're like, all right, I know something, I know a book. And not just 1 page, you know, there's some power up here in the book. I read a book. Books are good. It sure is better than tea, I'll tell you. I got this book in front of me and I've had it for a while. It's called Evelyn Wood's 7-Day Speed Reading Method. I've read half of it. I've got to the part when it actually talks about the method. I'm afraid to read it. I read all about how practice is good, and yeah, it's all about the first part of the book is that it works. This 7-day method, it works, and it takes discipline to do it. And if you apply the discipline with the work, you actually get the results. So, knowing that, I'm thinking to myself, if I read the chapter about the technique, I will have to practice it. To practice it, I will need discipline. I will need to designate 1 hour a day for speed reading, or at least to practice what I read. And I'm still a little lazy. But I'm getting there. I started meditating every day. I got this practice, so I started doing the practice, and yeah, I stopped smoking pot, which is a good thing, at least for me. Because sometimes, nothing wrong with smoking pot, but pot does take a lot of time. You smoke pot, you get lazy, you just want to chill and watch TV and eat chips or something. And, well, I would smoke pot and I would do some yoga. But I would not be very good at it. I would do it so-so. Yeah, practice does make perfect. And I think I'm gonna have a guest coming up soon. So, oh yeah. Let me also say that I saw Ben Law on Friday and Saturday, and on Sunday I saw a friend, Lama Lina. She is an American woman who, when she was like 18, 19, went to Afghanistan, bought herself a horse, rode the horse into India, and lived there for many, many years. She lived in Nepal. Actually, she traveled all over the world. She's 65 now, and she's Tibetan. She says that in order for her to learn the Tibetan Buddhism, how she knows, and Tibetan language, she had to drop her Americanism and actually become a Tibetan person. And she's sort of like Tibetan guy, because she used to hang out with a lot of guys, and she apparently remembered her previous life in which she was a man, and she was Tibetan, I think. And because she's talking about women like guys talk about women, and Tibetans, she says they're a race of Klingons. You know how Klingons from Star Trek are like really masochistic, really warriors. That's what Tibetans are. They're very male-dominated people. And I asked her a question, like not I, somebody asked her a question about what was the court system like in Tibet? What was the court system like in Tibet? And she said, "Oh, there isn't none. The swords. You get the sword and you go at it." Yeah, it's like Klingons, Yeah. So was teaching on 3 words of Garab Dorji.
remember the phone number?
There's a special number for it's
I
Google it and they have like the app.
would love to talk about it
Yeah, the
on the air, but
I don't have the number. I have a different number.
it's not a right thing to do
I don't know what Google is. But
because
I can get
it's
so I just
very.
it's cat cow.
Yeah.
I don't want to be misunderstood, so it's like a very personal thing, and
Sorry.
and
Destroyed your life.
I should follow the tradition
Do it.
because it's a good tradition and it makes sense. So
They have the app.
the teachings at the end say, you know, this thing is very,
Really scary, I bet you.
it's very real, it's very powerful, it's very, it gets you enlightened, and it's not to be talked over casually. And this show is a casual show, so I should not really discuss really secret stuff like that out in the open. But if you want to find out a little bit about it, if you want to know some stuff, come and see me, and I will tell you what I know, and we can have a personal eye-to-eye talk. Yeah, I gotta follow the rules. The rules are there. I like bending rules, but I don't like breaking rules. 'Cause, yeah, rules are there for a reason. And I can talk. Oh, here we are. Here we are. As I said, I have a guest come in. Hello, Celeste.
Hello, is this on?
Say hello.
Hello, hello.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Thanks for helping helping us get there.
Yeah, no problem. It was my pleasure. This thing is like a radio, so I have listeners, and nobody knows where is there and what happened. You wanna spill the guts a little bit? And then we can talk?
Sure. Well, I am woohoo, party in the radio booth. I'm Celeste, and I'm was one of 20 folks that rode our bicycles and did community gardening on the way to the NATO protest in Chicago. So most folks were leaving from Madison, and some of us left from Milwaukee and a little bit further down the road. And yeah, it was really great. Traveling without fossil fuels, working in gardens, getting that. I mean, it sounds like a good idea talking about it, but then the actual action of doing it was like really felt really good to be planting things, be touching the dirt, eating food out of gardens, riding in the wind and surrounded by the sound of trees. And it was a really big shift for me too. I mean, I've gone on bike trips before, but just biking to Chicago like that. Usually when I think of going to Chicago, it's a little stressful, like if you're in a car or even just taking mass transit. But being on a bike, I felt really comfortable and happy, and it was a really healthy trip. And then also the whole action of that ride I felt like a good protest to the North Atlantic trade or whatever.
NATO.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what NATO is. North Atlantic.
Trade?
Treaty?
Sorry, I'm really.
Yeah,
North
yeah,
Atlantic
like the
Trade
warmongers.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like yeah.
I'm sorry, I've been in the sun a lot today.
Tell,
Yeah,
tell
so
me how long
basically-
was the trip?
Folks left on Mother's Day from Madison, and then we got there on Friday, so it was about 5 or 6 days. But to bike from Milwaukee to Chicago, it's a pretty easy 2-day trip. And yeah,
Where
it
did you
was really
guys
powerful.
sleep? Did you
We
have
stayed
spots?
at churches and in gardens. We stayed here at the All People's Church, which is they have a pretty awesome social justice component, and the other churches we stayed at as well.
Did you plan it before, like the churches? Did you talk to them prior to
Yeah,
leaving?
yeah, definitely was pretty well organized bike ride, and testimony to what people can do in community, and it was inspiring to just be helping other folks. And actually on the way back, working together in gardens and learning about what people are doing to strengthen their communities and neighborhoods, which was kind of the most inspiring thing about being in Chicago, hearing people's stories and along the way. And then actually on the way back, I was biking by myself, but I
What do you mean by
met
yourself? What happened to everybody else?
folks kind of went different ways back home, but I wanted to bike, and I met some really great people from Mexico on the bike trail, and I was able to help them with their garden, which everyone's gardens were really inspiring to me, so it's been nice to be back home and gardening
these
too.
gardens you're talking about. So let me get it straight. There's just people who take a piece of land. Does the land belong to them, or it's just public space, public land?
Well, the gardens we were working in were, we worked at Kaddish Park over here, which Jan Christensen, I think, was pretty instrumental, or maybe the person who got that land. It's right on just north or south of North Avenue by the reservoir, and that's a giant community garden now that is public and community garden. We harvested a ton of arugula and kale out of there, and that went to feeding folks who come to a dinner at All People's Church, and we ate a lot of it. It's great. I don't know, doing stuff like this outside. There's little public beds, and then a lot of church beds, and gardening is good for everything.
I never gardened. Hearing you talk about it makes me think, maybe it's time for me to plant a tree or something.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I never got to it. Sometimes I, like most people, need a push into doing things, like something that you've never done. You're not just gonna, sometimes you just go out and do it, and sometimes you just need a push. Sometimes you need somebody drag you into things. And then, like a punk rock shows. I never went to see punk. I don't know. I was never interested. I just never knew about it. And then some of my friends was like, come. And I got dragged into a punk show, and I was like, oh, wow, this is a lot of fun. Things you don't know about.
Yeah, it definitely is good to have a band of folks on bicycles, being excited to work on projects. And it made me realize how much you can get done when you're organized with a small group of people even, and you have a plan. You can get a lot accomplished, and it's really exciting because there's a lot of work to be done. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about the protest. How was it? Did you
Yeah,
get there?
so-
Yeah. You texted me.
Yeah, I was there. So yeah, NATO is like a coalition of several countries. It's a financially, it's sort of like a financial institution that's militarily backed by the U.S. military and so definitely U.S. tax dollars are going to have been backing this and is responsible for I guess more if you go to their webpage and scroll down there's this fact that they're actually responsible for more innocent deaths than the Taliban due to drone strikes in Syria and Libya and stuff. And so, yeah, there were a lot of people there to protest this meeting that was happening in Chicago. A crazy amount of police officers, probably more police than I've ever seen in my life, which were hired from all over the Midwest to defend the meeting in the convention center. There was really great workshops at a church which was also called All Peoples in Chicago. I went to a really amazing workshop that these women from Detroit had hosted from the People's Movement Assembly. And so yeah,
What was that workshop about?
Yeah, well, you know, Detroit, there's a lot of powerful organizers there because the bottom has fallen out and people are serious about surviving and addressing what has happened with the like all of the car companies that are gone and
everybody's leaving. Yeah.
all the issues that are tied in there. And so there's a lot of there's a big sustainability movement and just a lot of really strong people organizing from the grassroots. And so the People's Movement Assembly is this way of addressing people who are it was really great. It was a really great conversation that these women hosted it, and basically the crux of it was like how in our communities of people that like we're trying to change things, but let's really be open to the broad realities and perspectives of everyone, especially people who aren't heard, minorities, women, you know, like, and so how to have a discussion that's keyed towards having those people speak up and advocate for their needs and also put forth their plans and their ideas for change. And it was just really inspiring because there are about maybe like 75 people in this workshop that was happening, and so we went over some questions like, what's the problem? Like, how are we going to change this? What solutions do we have? Like, and heard such a broad range of perspectives on what was happening in different people's lives and different solutions and how to work it together. And I really appreciated that because I feel like sometimes in our activist communities, you know, it's like the same problems that we're battling externally are affecting us internally, and it's hard work, but it's like if you don't do that, if you don't look at yourself and challenge yourself to be open to broader perspectives and things that are maybe hard to figure out, you're being hypocritical, you know, and it's like, let's grow together and get into the nitty-gritty and try to shake things up and really change things and nourish things in a positive way. So that was like, that workshop was super inspiring, and let's see if I can remember. This woman, I think her name was Christy Hicks, and just these really amazing women from Detroit, which made me think of Grace Lee Boggs and just a lot of powerful activists who are in that area doing stuff. That was good for me. And then there was another art workshop that Narissa went to. Actually, I want to get a copy of the film from those people for here, the River West video store, film and video store. It was a bunch of artists that had, I just caught the tail end of it, but I think it was like a film cooperative folks in Chicago who, and different parts of the Midwest maybe, who their project was bringing equipment and stuff to, bringing equipment, film equipment and editing equipment to people in areas where NATO was drone striking, where war from
to show the real deal.
Yeah, and so training people in Afghanistan and all these places where the U.S. has effectively been flagrantly violating human rights, so that folks there could document from their perspective, have all the equipment they need and training. And they made these really amazing films of people in their communities that were
those are like
dealing.
underground films. They're hard to get to. Huh?
Yeah, I
But you're
didn't have
trying to
cash,
get.
I wish I could think of the name right now, but I don't. Maybe I have it in my backpack somewhere, but anyway, I'm gonna get this. Maybe it was called Films from Afghanistan or something like this. Maybe it was simple, but anyway, so their project also was having portraits from stills from the film and having people draw portraits of people from these communities. And Narissa did a really beautiful portrait, and part of the project was having like war vets and people like younger people too, who are maybe like about to go into the military, do this exercise of drawing a child from Syria and like talking about what's happening and developing a sense of compassion and understanding of what is actually going on, and whether, you know, like it definitely changed people's lives to think of like their human brothers and sisters and what is happening because of like the U.S. military backing like drilling and getting natural resources from other places that aren't like for out of greed and wanting oil and more, you know, to keep this overconsumptive lifestyle that isn't necessary going. So yeah, it was powerful. And
Let me ask you this question: these workshops, because from what I understand, the whole protest was outside the building where the NATO was, and where were all these projects? Were they on the street? There were like the street.
No,
things?
there were things going on at churches and different venues, and then there was a big march on Sunday that a lot of people were at. It was hard for me to get a good judge of exactly how many people, and I haven't listened to the news much since I've gotten back, unfortunately, but I was trying to do recordings, but there were barricades up and so many police. Yeah,
the police set up like
yeah, it was crazy.
Like
I mean, I've been to other protests and things like this, but it was the most police presence that I've probably ever seen in my life, because cops were hired from all over the Midwest to come and be there. And so, I mean, you could probably look it up online and see how many thousands of police, the Chicago mayor paid, or Chicago taxpayers paid to be there. It was ridiculous. The highway was shut down, 55 was shut down, all of downtown was shut down, and then the day of the protest, it was like 10 blocks deep for every block of the march, lined with hundreds of police officers.
So were there any fighting going on? I mean, the cops, they let the protest a little bit, right?
What ended up happening was that some people in Chicago got raided by the police. This is sort of a typical strategy of theirs, to use protest situations to raid houses.
Raid houses?
That have been targeted for whatever reason.
Like,
and so,
you mean, like drug houses? Or something?
No. For some reason, I'm just going by I've
just whatever you know.
Yeah, I'm just going by what I've heard, what I was hearing in Chicago, because I didn't actually have internet access, so you probably find more accurate details about this online. But no, for whatever, I think they were. I don't even know if they're like activists, but that was what they were being. They were targeted for whatever reason and held without charges. They were finally given charges of being terrorists, and
they were given charges by being terrorists.
Yeah, they were being charged as terrorists, right? This happens a lot, and so because of that, there was definitely some unplanned marches and demonstrations in solidarity with them, because it was highly illegal. Like at first they didn't even have charges and were held without being able to make a phone call, without any lawyers or anyone knowing. I'm not sure what the extent of police violence was, but definitely the last day, there were a lot of people being sent to the hospital. There were tons of cops and riot gear trotting around, and there was definitely, you could feel tension. I'm not saying it was all police officers, but there were some that were obviously itching to
hurt somebody.
Yeah, definitely there were a lot of people in Mercy Hospital, and yeah. But I also just saw a lot of great humor tactics. Like, I felt really relieved by people in the march who were just making an example of how ridiculous the whole situation was, and making fun of such a high-intensity police force that, so... Yeah, it wasn't all doom and gloom. Yeah, well, I actually ran into Patch Adams in the march, and that was really great. He's a radical clown doctor that started with a bunch of colleagues this place called Gesundheit, which is aspiring to be a free clinic, and hosts a lot of workshops for medical students and people who are interested in a more holistic view of like practicing healthcare and clowning. A huge part of healing is humor.
Yes. And
so it was super great to run into him because he was like, you don't have to be serious and militant. Like, this is ridiculous, and like, we're gonna be even more ridiculous. And I feel like he was right, and it was great to be with. So we ended up marching in the Queer Block together. And
what kind of block?
The Queer Block.
Queer block.
Yeah, which is
like with colorful.
Yeah, bright rainbow flags. And and really good people, and a lot of joy, and like manifestation of positive energy that actually was making the cops kind of crack up, and which is like, it's great I mean, I'm not just trying to like entertain them or whatever, but I thought it's when you're looking at like a bazillion cops grimacing, it's great when you can like touch them enough to like see their humanity poke through for a minute and like get them to smile and maybe rethink like what they're doing there, or at least be like, okay, like maybe they're laughing at you, but maybe they're also realizing a human connection. And one really funny moment was when everyone in the queer block, including Patch Adams, who had like fake snot and a funny retainer in his mouth and these giant clown pants that were tucked into his crotch, was chanting, "You're sexy, you're cute, take off that riot suit." And there were like lines and lines of police around us, and I heard one of the officers go, what are they chanting? What did they say? And then another male officer standing next to him was like, "You're sexy, you're cute, take off your riot suit." and so so I don't know, yeah, there were like moments like that were really good. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of discussion about the effectiveness of protesting has come up, and I agree. It's sort of like, I don't really think I'm changing the world by being there, but I feel like it's important to stand up. And it's so great to see so many people like strong, like, you know, bravely being out in the streets, even though there are all these police officers, and advocating for a better world, or just a just world that is basic to human rights. And you know, it's like obviously I don't know, it's kind of confounding to think about, but anyway, and there were a lot of people organizing outside of the march too, and just really nice to have time to have conversations with people and learn from people's experiences and be inspired by projects. And so yeah, I feel like the experience did actually change me a lot in ways that I didn't expect. And yeah,
That's what's up. That's what's going on. Being a part of something so great, I think, lets you feel yourself in unity with other people, and you get let go of your own individuality and become a part of a positive collective. Because those police, they have to let go of their individuality, but they become a part of this machine that is blind, that is just following orders from above, that is thoughtless, that is just acting by command.
Right. I mean, I'm sure they're all just excited to be getting paid overtime, but hopefully some of people, I'm sure hopefully some people realized how ridiculous it was too. I mean, and like, what is the point? What are you defending? You're basically defending your tax money, like going to murdering innocent people for no good reason, and just more destructiveness. So it's good to know that there's other people in the world that are fighting just as hard for a positive way of existing. And
you can't really fight hate with hate. You gotta become a Patch Adams.
Well, yeah, and then also like those folks that I met on the bike ride back by myself who weren't even a part of any of that stuff. It was really awesome just to be able to connect with.
How did you meet them?
Just they were riding bikes from a relative's house back to their house because they lived right on the bike path, and they spoke Spanish, which.
Do you speak Spanish?
Yeah, so we were chatting in Spanish, and it was interesting because the father was, actually had like gotten his car taken away because he didn't have some papers, and so we were talking about bicycles, and he was like, yeah, I think it's true. Like maybe we don't need cars. We can, we can like bikes are free and less harmful to the environment. So, but their experience was really interesting. And that and their hospitality, you know, is like definitely, I don't know, part of a different culture. And maybe
Did they welcome you into their house?
yeah, big time. Yeah, they like
You stayed with them?
yeah,
Or
I get to stay
Uh-huh.
for a night and help them with their garden, which was really inspiring. They were growing corn and a lot of great, beautiful food and stuff, and just felt like really great to connect with them, and this whole other it was like they really got it too, you know. They had a good analysis, but at first I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't tell them that I just came from this protest. But because, you know, people, there's this stereotype that protesters are crazy and crazy anarchists, and
Are you
maybe I
crazy?
am a little bit, but like in
Hey,
this
it's
like
good.
I mean,
You gotta be a
I'm
little
actually
crazy.
well,
I
yeah. I mean, my perspective is like trying to do positive things, you know, and actually that was interesting too. I guess it's sort of going to a different subject a little bit for a minute, but like my strategy in Chicago was I really loved going with like the strategy of humor and positivism. Even though I love black people too, it's just, it's interesting, you know. It's like when there's that many, there's that many police everywhere, it's like I think that there's always different tactics for different moments, but it's like, yeah, I don't know, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like sometimes being aggressive towards the police state isn't always the best thing, and there's other ways of dealing with it that are more joyous and can have better results. And non-violence can sometimes bring out the like
Creativity.
ridiculousness of the police, and or anyway, I guess I'm getting off subject, but
No.
but anyway, so I did tell them where I was coming from, and they were really sympathetic and glad, and they had a really beautiful family, and it just made me hopeful that there's good people in the world. Not really. It was sort of like their children are first generation. I guess Mexican Americans. So
Are they big
it's-
kids or little kids?
there were varying ages up to high school, but
So
It's
the
interesting
family have
'cause-
been here for a while.
yeah, just maybe 30 years or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, also interesting to me. Definitely a different culture than you normally. It wasn't like, I don't know how many straight up American people would be like, come stay with us and our family, you know. So yeah, it was really beautiful to get to chat with them and make connections with people on this ride. I feel like I'm getting sunstroked out. Maybe I should take a break and pee. Not
When you're on the
not
microphone,
into the
does-
microphone or anything,
It does
but-
get you all, I don't know, energized. You know, a few times I had to stay here and talk for 2.5 hours, just like blah blah blah. I'm like, oh shit, I'm tired at the end, because you know you're all vibrating too. It's not easy to talk.
Well, thanks for letting me talk on your show.
Yeah, thank you for
and having
coming.
a show and.
What are you
radio.
drinking? This
I'm
looks good.
drinking water with lemon balm in it. Hey,
Lemon
do you
what?
want some water with lemon balm? It's an
Lemon
herb,
balm.
non-psychedelic common
Psychedelic.
mint.
Yeah, I'll try some.
Yeah, it's calming. It's a nervine. You can make water tea with it.
That wouldn't even bother me as much.
It's delicious. So did you pick it fresh or did you buy it in the store?
Yeah, I'm growing it. There's a lot of it. I can bring you some next time we hang out.
Yeah.
But I drank a lot, so I really do have to pee, kind of.
It's a hot day.
Do you mind if I
What's all this about?
band practice downstairs?
Downstairs?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go to the restroom, ladies'
Oh yeah,
room,
go
real
ahead,
quick.
handle. Yeah. Well, there's lots and lots of beautiful things in this world. The most beautiful thing I know is called people, humanity. It was really beautiful to listen to Celeste talk about her experience of entering a new world, of just going out bicycling, go out into the world, seeing new things, meeting new people, opening up. Hi, what's going on? You back? Huh? You have any more questions? Sure. I always got questions. That's loud. Yeah. Band practice.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little obnoxious, but that's alright. Let's see. What's going on? You can see. You want to see yourself?
No.
You can change seats.
No.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Question. I got a question. Well, you probably already answered it because I was gonna ask you, where did you stay while you were in Chicago?
Oh, we stayed at Trinity Episcopal Church, I believe it was called.
And they just opened their doors to anybody?
We had contacted them, and they let us camp out on their lawn, and yeah, it was really nice of them, and luckily they had a hose, and so when on Sunday night when people were still marching and the police put up barricades, and then people decided to jump over the barricades, we were able to bring the hose out and water folks and help out. And yeah, it was a really beautiful church. They had.
I'm glad the Chicago natives stood with the people. They were not, like barring people away from themselves. They said, "Oh yeah, it's a good thing that you're doing."
Yeah, definitely. People
I'm
are
glad
really
the
friendly
church
and nice.
people are good, because sometimes, I don't know, you get to hear stuff like George Bush says, "Oh yeah, I'm a Christian," and then you get to see all those Christians waving "I hate gay" signs.
Right,
and stuff
exactly.
like that,
The
but-
YMCA in Zion, I believe, wouldn't let us stay there once they realized we were going to the protest. So who knows what that's all about. But
Well, there's good and bad. There's positive and not so positive. Actually, I don't know about bad, but maybe I'll just say not so positive, because everybody got some positivity. People just sometimes confused about what's the right thing to do. Yeah.
yeah, influenced maybe by media and projections of, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm kind
media
of.
is so much. Like my dad, he watches Channel 6 News, Fox News. He thought, and Tai Chi teacher, he listens to conservative radio stations, and he says stuff like my teacher, Michael, he says straight, what he hears on the radio, and things like, "Oh, I don't listen to public radio. All public radio is liberal, and all they talk about is their own things." And I personally, I listen to public radio, and I don't hear any liberal talk on public radio. Public radio gives it straight how it is. They don't really take sides. They give facts, but the conservatives, they gotta put some dirt on everybody other than themselves, and then people are, I don't know, they're gullible. It's just kind of sad that people don't know how to think for themselves often.
Right. Oh, I
Yeah.
think I gotta get some food and
Yeah, you go
recharge
handle
my
your
batteries.
business. And
But
thank you so much for coming.
yeah, thanks for being awesome and helping out and doing this radio show.
Yeah.
Caring. Yay! Okay, see you soon. Love you, Chili.
One love. All right. Yeah. We mingle with the good people we meet. As the world goes on, we're just going through our things. Sometimes we look at what's going on. Sometimes we just believe what others tell us what's going on. What is really going on behind closed doors? Sometimes I don't want to know. 'Cause at times ignorance is bliss, but is it really? Is it really? What is bliss? To me, bliss is just sitting here, looking out the window, watching people go by, taking care of their things, ordinary life. Bliss doesn't have to be extraordinary. It doesn't have to be special, like special, because this life by itself is extraordinary, and it is very, very special, and everybody is unique. Look at your breath. Each breath is not like any other breath. No two breaths are the same. No two breaths are the same. No two people are the same. Nothing is alike. Everything, no two moments are the same. The world, it is alive with movement. But if you look at this movement, if you look at this difference between every atom, you will see that it's all a part of one thing. It's all a part of life. Life! That is what counts. I've been reading some scientific findings recently, and what the scientists discovered, or they're discovering, is something that most of us have already known. Earth is alive. Earth is like a living, breathing organism. But you know what that means? It means not just Earth is alive. It means the solar system is alive. It means that our galaxy is alive. It means that our universe is alive. God is a living God. It's not a dead God. Ah. Ah. Ah is the sound of life. What does the baby do? Ah! When it's burned. Ah! Ah is the sound of movement. It's the sound of aliveness, of movement. Ah is the sound of light. We are light beings. Everything is light. Quantum physics. I don't know much about it, but I do know a little bit about life. I look at it, what you see is what you get usually. So appearances do deceive, but if you're not looking at appearances, if you're looking at suchness, what you see is what you get, and the world is alive. That is basic. And the sound is ah. There's some other things that are happening right now. The sound, well, the syllable, the sound of Om. Om. As I was told, Om is the sound of material things arising and disintegrating. Physical world arising and disintegrating. Universe arising and disintegrating. Makes sense, it makes sense. And then there's another sound, another syllable. Home. 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 That is the sound of space of mind. Mind as it is, not as what is in it, but the openness is like an empty space in which everything can appear and to which everything disappears. Ah, there is a mantra. Om Ahum. Me and Lama Lina, we were talking. Actually, this is Lama Lina's teachings. She's the her teachings are not her teachings. Her teachings are her teacher's teachings, and her teacher's teachings says her teacher's teachings, and her teachings goes all the way to primordial. So we're talking about what is truth, and she says, "Can you know?" And what we agreed upon after a discussion is that the truth can be expressed in these three syllables: Om Ahum. Om Ahum. That's the sound of. That's the mantra of. That is the essence of all there is. All there is and all there isn't is all there. Om is the physical world. Hum is the empty space, this cloudless sky. And is the aliveness of it all, is the light. A yoga of You sit there, preferably with a straight spine. Because if you bend your spine, you're kind of depressed, you know? It's like, oh, I feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. And if you lean back a little bit, it's like, oh, I'm jittery. I want to do something. It's like, I'm impatient, you know? So you sit with a straight spine. You relax your spine upon each other like a stack of coins. And you inhale deeply and say, And as you say, release. Release your stress. Release your pain. Release your worries. Release your angers. Release your negativity. Release whatever bothers you. Yeah, it feels good. Feel it. Feel your pain go. Relax into it. Let go. Let go. Let go, whatever. Let go. Just let go. Yoga of Yoga is an art of getting back to being whole. Getting back to who we are in essence. People say, oh, yoga is, you hold the postures, you stand there, you pull, you stretch. It's part of it, sure. I mean, we have this body gets crusty, gets rusty, gets all kinds of impurities in it, you know. You go eat McDonald's, you get to eat a bunch of chemicals, and those chemicals don't really want to go away. No. Yoga food is good nutrition. Wholesome food is important. Who we are is what we eat. Well, no, not who we are is what we eat. Like a large part of ourselves, our feelings is what we eat. So if we eat unwholesome food, it can't feel really healthy and good. Like, you drink some cheap liquor, and you get yourself a headache and shakes and seizures. That's what me and Jeb were talking about. Sometimes wholesome food is just not eating too much. Because you drink a glass of wine a day, you drink 2 glasses of good wine a day, you feel good, you live healthy, you sleep good, you live longer. It's good for you. You drink a gallon of wine a day, oh boy. You piss your pants, wake up with a headache, and you get cirrhosis of the liver. Yeah. So, wholesomeness. Yoga is a good thing. I recommend it. I recommend all of it. There's a lot of yoga. Yoga of being clean. Yoga of good food. Yoga of good mind. Yoga of good body. Yoga of being thankful. Yeah? I am thankful for being. I'd rather be than not be. I'd rather be aware than not be aware. So I'm being thankful for my awareness. To whom? I don't know. I'd love to say to God. But this God that I'm thankful is a part of me. I'm thankful to myself. I'm thankful to everybody. Because who I am a part of everybody. And everybody is a part of what we call God. I think that's enough for today. It's 5:55. Well, I got 5 more minutes. So, for 5 minutes, you get to enjoy me singing. Or maybe we should do some guitar. Yeah, I'll do a little bit. Bhagavad Gita is a good book. Read it. Okay, that's a little bit. That's enough. I'll just do some singing, chanting. Because, yeah, people like it. I done this chanting on an open mic, and people applauded. I was like, wow. I guess people like it. So people like it. I like it. Makes me feel good. People feel good listening to it, I guess. So here we go. And it's 6 o'clock, and my time being up here has ended. So, on this note, I will say good night. Well, good day. Maybe good morning, depending on what time you're listening to this broadcast. If you are listening at all, maybe you just hearing it with one ear. Maybe you are working and just got River West Radio turned on. I'm enjoying it because there's a lot of good shows up here. Tune in every day, 3 o'clock till 11 p.m. 3 p.m. till 11 p.m. River West Radio is open, and there should be somebody coming in, and hopefully they do. But me, I go now. So take it easy, relax. Life is good. Stand up for something that is good. And don't be afraid to be yourself. Because you, as you are, is all you need to be. You're beautiful and perfect as everything is. And acceptance is enlightenment. Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. Be happy.